in Stanton, I lived in the Cayman Islands. I'm quite aware that many of you have probably never heard of it or have any possible clue as to its geographical location. Some of you that have heard of the Cayman Islands probably heard it in the movies as a place to hide your money. Since there are many misconceptions about the Cayman Islands, for my chapel talk, I thought it would be interesting for me to tell you about the Cayman Islands. From the weather to the culture and what it is like to live on an island, especially because many of you grew up in the major countries with millions of people. The Cayman Islands may be incredibly small, but is full of interesting characters and occasional bad weather. The Cayman Islands are located in the Caribbean, which can sometimes give us a bad representation as we are put into the same category as countries like Jamaica. Cayman is south of Cuba, so if fleers of Cuba take a wrong turn and end up on our island, unlike the United States wet foot, dry foot policy, we will send them right back to Cuba. The Cayman Islands are also north of Jamaica, which is why many people question our credibility with narcotics and diseases, especially during the recent outbreak of Zika. The Cayman Islands are an incredibly religious island, one of the most religious islands in the Caribbean. The only practiced religion on the island is Christianity, with over 200 churches to hold the population each Sunday, when all the stores are closed. The official language of the Cayman Islands is English, because we are still owned by Britain. The uninhabited islands were discovered in 1503 by Christopher Columbus, and named the islands Las Tortugas due to the abundance of sea turtles found on the islands. The name was later changed to Cayman after the Carib word for cayman, the marine crocodile. The Cayman Islands are made up of 3 islands, Grand Cayman, Cayman Brac, and Little Cayman, which takes approximately an hour to ride a bicycle around. The total population of the islands are 62,181, with the majority living on Grand Cayman. And to most people's surprise, it's not small enough where I know everyone that lives there. The clear majority of people living on the island are foreigners, those that are not from the island, like myself, as I was born in Canada. Many people come from Spanish countries in the Caribbean, Great Britain, Jamaica, the Philippines, and the United States. Many people do not realize how similar life in the Cayman Islands is to living in Stanton. The Cayman Islands are one of the most developed islands in the Caribbean, which is due to the banking industry and tourism. Our development is shown in the amount of cars, paved roads, multitude of hotels and schools, and even a few colleges. A difference in the Cayman Islands is that it is a major banking country, due to it being a tax haven. When I arrived in Stanton, it was always hard to remember that the price did not include the tax. Another main difference are the seasons. It is said the only seasons we get are dry season and hurricane season. Although hurricanes don't appeal to many tourists, having a warm winter season instead of a freezing one has made the Cayman Islands a popular tourist destination. The appeal to tourists are crystal clear blue waters, which allows divers and water fanatics to admire our vast aquatic ecosystem. Such aspects of our ecosystem include our coral reefs and a vast array of aquatic wildlife. For tourists visiting the islands, there are many aquatic activities to take part in. There is the world-famous Stingray City, where stingrays live in open waters. Many people feed the stingrays and give them kisses, as it supposedly gives you 7 years of good luck. The Cayman Islands are also known for the turtle farm, where people can hold baby turtles and see the different stages of turtle life. Another attraction is Starfish Point, a small area that has an array of starfishes that visitors can pick up and take great photos with. The people of the Cayman Islands have a strong national identity. They are called Caymanians. Caymanians, especially the older generation, have a very strong sense of national pride. If you talk to any older Caymanian, they're always willing to tell you about life and how proud they are to be from the Cayman Islands. It was fascinating to grow up in a place where people were so proud of where they lived. Throughout the Caribbean, there's a strong sense of national pride in each country. This has resulted in the Caribbean being full of festivals and parades, usually based on the annual carnival in Trinidad. The carnivals showcase Caribbean music, dancing, and costumes, while each being unique to that country. In the Cayman Islands, we have Carnival, but we call it Badabanu. Badabanu is a yearly parade held at the beginning of May, where Caymanians and many tourists from around the world get together, listen to music, dance, and just have a good time. In the parade, there are many elaborate costumes, each having a specific theme. Different companies have a float and people play, meaning take part, in the parade. The food of the Caribbean has also played a major role in the lives of people in the Cayman Islands. One of the initial jobs of the first settlers in the Cayman Islands was turtling, where seamen went out on their catboats and caught turtles. They would then use the shell for decoration and eat the turtle meat. Today, turtling is no longer popular, but turtle meat is a very popular delicacy. Other popular dishes include cassava, breadfruit, conch, and mahi-mahi. Living in the Cayman Islands was always interesting due to its size. It has always been easy getting around the island. There has never been an instant where I did not know where I was going or did not know the area I was in. The largest island, Grand Cayman, is 22 miles long. It is always funny to talk about running a marathon in the Cayman Islands, as Grand Cayman is not even long enough to complete a full marathon of 26.2 miles. Grand Cayman is also completely flat and at sea level. The highest point is known as Trashmore, the local dump. Being on a completely flat island at sea level has its challenges. The main challenge is rainy season. With just a little bit of rain, main roads on the islands are flooded, which meant that instead of having snow days, I had flood days growing up. Let's not forget about hurricane season, when we always wonder whether this hurricane season is going to have a hurricane that wipes out the island. I've only been on the island for one major hurricane, Hurricane Ivan, which was in 2004. I was 5 at the time, and the idea of not going to school and being with my mom was fine enough to keep me happy. I had no problem when the power went out or the house started flooding. I even wanted to swim in the water, which I later learned was not just seawater, but also sewer water. The only problem I had with the hurricane, which destroyed most of the island and put me out of school for 4 months, was that when my mother opened the door after the hurricane had ended, my favorite slipper was washed right out of the door. I cried and I cried. I begged my mother to go outside and swim to retrieve my beloved slipper, but she just laughed and closed the door. The hurricane had only taken one side of the shoe, and when we found the other side, after the water had settled, I wanted revenge. I was 5, not thinking about how my house was flooded from the sewers or how the roof caved in, but the fact that I did not have my slipper. I eventually learned not to sweat the small stuff and moved on from that traumatic incident. I'm so thankful I was young and naive at the time, because I did not understand the true strength of the hurricane. If I had, I would have been terrified. Hurricane Ivan was a Category 5 hurricane. Its strong winds and heavy rains could have easily taken out the entire island. Not only was the hurricane strong, but it caused major flooding, which being on a completely flat island is not a good thing. The house we had recently moved out of was right on the beach, and due to Hurricane Ivan, most of it ended up on the road. To this day, all that is left of the complex is its foundation. Though the majority of the buildings in the Cayman Islands are up to code, the hurricane was strong enough to cause some sort of damage to almost all homes. There are still homes that were destroyed around the island because the homeowners could not afford to rebuild their house. Thankfully, there were only 2 casualties during the hurricane. However, due to many of our grave sites being on the beach, many dead bodies resurfaced during the hurricane. A friend of my mom even remembers when at his job, a dead body, ran by raging water, slammed into the glass door, scaring them half to death. Overall, the hurricane showed the strength of the people in the Cayman Islands. After storms in most places, there's a lot of looting and crime. But after Hurricane Ivan, the community came together. Neighbors that had generators invited you to their home. People gave one another food, and many came together to clean up the damage. It was a really positive experience to grow up around. The Cayman Islands is an amazing place with beautiful wildlife, but it is only a good place to be as a tourist. The size of the island limits the number of things you could do. It'd be like living in Stanton without being able to drive to Waynesboro or even DC. Also, I'm not a fan of the warm climate. I know to most of you that sounds crazy, but having the same type of temperature all year long gets quite boring, and sometimes I want to be able to go outside without immediately being drenched in sweat from head to toe. Sometimes going to the beach isn't a luxury, it's a necessity, especially those days when the power goes out for hours on end. Living on the island did shelter my views of the world. But the islands are full of foreigners. They are mostly from a few countries, with the same religion and background. Therefore, the few foreigners from different countries became our other attractions. Most people on the island are either Christians or atheists, rarely in between. Having people of a multitude of different races and religions would have been so cool growing up, which makes Stuart Hall such a fascinating community. Though life wasn't always great on a small island, I learned to appreciate the things I did have. I have seen so many things in this world that most people dream of. I have gone swimming with stingrays and turtles, had the opportunity to go to the beach at almost any time, went on submarines for field trips, and saw what it was like to be in a community that lost nearly everything, but somehow could get back on their feet. The lessons I have learned and the memories I have made are irreplaceable, and something I would never want to give up. I am proud to say I grew up in the small, not always known, Cayman Islands. The upper school is dismissed.